Rachel Anthony. Welcome back to my channel for another Writing Wednesday. So today I want to talk about metadata. Metadata is that tool that you use to make sure that your books are getting in front of the right audience on KDP or Ingram or whatever distribution platform you choose to sell your book from. Today I'm going to specifically talk about Publisher Rocket and how it can help you do research and investigate the best metadata for your book, your genre, your category, to get it in front of the right users and to make sure it is as competitive as it can be compared to other books of your genre, of your category on that same distribution platform. I am very new to Publisher Rocket. I've mentioned in other videos that I've used a hybrid publisher to do the distribution work for my debut novel, A Time for Us. As I move forward with my own publishing company, Infinite Serenity Publishing, as I upload my books to be published under my own imprint, I'm having to do the due diligence myself of finding the right keywords, finding the right categories to position my book as competitively as it can be on Amazon specifically. I'll be very specific in the fact that Publisher Rocket uses Amazon data exclusively to find the right keywords and categories and give you that competitive edge. You can certainly use the information that you find from Amazon using Publisher Rocket on other distribution platforms. However, the data that Publisher Rocket uses to determine or assess what keywords are best for you, or which keywords will put you higher on a search list when a user goes in to search for a book like yours, all of that data is coming exclusively from KDP. Let's take a look at the tool. As I was about to say, I'm very new to Publisher Rocket. I've used it for the first time as I was uploading my book to KDP. So I'm going to show you the two pieces of the Publisher Rocket platform that I used to determine keywords and the competitive edge that those keywords were going to give my book. As I share my screen and show you other parts of Publisher Rocket, I'm not going to go into all of the features that it has to offer yet. But as I go and explore deeper into the tool, I'll bring you along with me. As we come to the home page for Publisher Rocket, you'll see that it has 5 different areas of functionality that you can use. As I stated, I'm going to, for the purposes of this video, I'm going to stay within the keyword search and the competition analyzer. So, for keyword search, for my book, A Time for Us, there are some keywords that were used by the hybrid publisher that I used to as metadata. So I started out with searching those first just to see how competitive it was and how high on the search list it would get me. And where I landed was the primary keyword I wanted to use was women's fiction. So let's type that in to the keyword search here. And then click Go Get 'em Rocket. And what it's doing is it's going to KDP and looking for how many users actually typed in that keyword search that I just used, and any variation of that keyword search. So if you look here, women's fiction is the specific verbatim search that I did. Here you have other variations like Christian fiction books for women, fiction about women, and then different variations of women's fiction, because it is actually taking the data that people used and entered into Amazon searching for books. So you're going to find different variations of those that same keyword search that you put in is going to take into consideration like women's with and without an apostrophe. It's going to take into consideration misspellings, things like that. The words that you see here in orange means that even though those were words that were used as a part of the search that a user did to search for a book, these are not words you can actually use as a part of your 7 keywords that you upload into KDP as a part of your metadata. Words like novel, books, bestseller, things like that, Kindle. You can't use any of those words as a part of your keywords, but this does give you insight into what words users, readers are actually entering into that search box on Amazon. So as you go down the list, you can determine which ones you want to dig further into and see actual data returned back for those. So I'm definitely going to use women's fiction. So to see more insight into that, I'm going to click on the little magnifying glass. And when I do that, you can see the data that's returned. So for women's fiction, the first column here is going to show average pages. So this is the average number of pages of books under that keyword. So 408 pages is the average number of pages. The number of competitors, 80,000, meaning that there are 80,000 books on KDP that fall within this keyword search. Average price, $10 for the books that fall within that keyword search. The average earnings per month is $99,890 per month for books that fall within that keyword search. The estimated Amazon searches per month. So this is the actual number of searches that that users entered in to Amazon each month. So that is over 22,000 times someone went to Amazon and typed in women's fiction. With all of this criteria, it's going to give you a competitive score, meaning that if you use women's fiction as one of your 7 keywords, it's telling you that when it's 60 or above, and it's in this yellow color, it's telling you that that is a very competitive category or keyword, meaning that there's a lot of other books out there that you're going to be competing with in order to return on a search. Based on the data that I researched and the tutorials that Publisher Rocket provides, for a new author, it's best to stay 40 or below. That means there are fewer competitors out there that will show up on a search when a user enters in that keyword. For this one, it's moderately competitive. There are some that are very high competitive, and this will show up red. 40 and below will show up green. 40 and I think to 70, I think, will show up as amber or yellow, and then above that is red, meaning that it is a highly competitive area, and your book will probably not show up very high in the search results. I'm curious now to look for fiction books for women. That is not a category that would be applicable for my book, but I'm just curious to see what data is returned there. So here you see that the number of pages, the number of competitors, the average price, the average number monthly earnings. The times it was searched on per month, 636, a lot fewer times than strictly women's fiction. However, because there's so many competitors out there, and even though it's a low number of searches, it's still giving you a moderately high competitive score, meaning that you're still not going to show up very high on that search result list once a user pulls this in. So let me look at some other categories under here that may be more applicable to my book. Let's try new women's fiction and see what we get here. Again, pretty competitive. The number of competitors not as high, but still moderately competitive. So how about, let's look at women's fiction suspense, because that would qualify for my book. It has a lower number, still moderately competitive, but the number of competitors is fewer. The number of searches is pretty substantial. So it does have a lower moderate competitor score. I would think that it would be even lower than that. But yeah, this would be one that I would probably consider. So let's go back and look at a new search. Another one that I wanted to consider was Past Lives Romance. And here you can see that the search results, the list isn't as long as when I typed in women's fiction. But let's see what the actual numbers are looking like. So this one's very interesting. So for Past Lives Romance, we're looking at average pages of 250, number of competitors 40,000, average price $6, average on monthly earnings 551. The number of estimated Amazon searches per month less than 100, and it has a very low competitive score, meaning that if that were going to be one of your keywords, the odds are you would show up pretty high in the search results. The downside is not a lot of people are searching for this particular keyword. So you would have to determine whether you feel like this competitive score would be good enough, would be the motivating factor to use this keyword. Let's look at another variation of these. So we have contemporary women's fiction, past life romance. I want to see both of those. So as you can see, contemporary women's fiction is a variation of the previous women's fiction keyword that I used. And you can see all of the numbers here. That monthly average earnings is pretty high. The number of estimated Amazon searches is just over 1,300 per month, giving you a competitive score still on the moderate side, but on the low end of the moderate side at a 42. So that one might be something I would consider. For past life romance, again, not a lot of people searching for that. Less than 100, the competitive score is 4. Odds are if someone were to put that keyword in, you would show up really high, if not at the top of the list. But not a lot of people searching for that. So that might be something that you may want to consider when you're making your decision. The other thing I wanted to call out here is that when you are looking for your keyword searches, you can look here for books, which is actually the printed book, or you can look for Kindle, or you can look for Audible. So you can look specifically at different formats to get possibly different data back. Let me look at Kindle and do the same thing for Past Lives Romance. I want to make sure I'm using the same word. And let's just see if the numbers are going to be different. So under Kindle, even more competitive. So not a lot of searches, fewer competitors. Let me look at the different variations here. So they're all almost the same. So it's very interesting. Past life romantasy. Sometimes it takes a bit for the data to come back. Past life lovers romance. So yeah, past life romantasy, number one, low competition. You'd be number one on the list for that keyword. But again, not a lot of people searching for it, not a lot of money in it. And so, yeah, for past life lovers romance, the numbers are a little larger, but still not a lot of people searching for it. So again, you might want to determine if it's more important to get more searches under that keyword or be higher on the list of searches for the people who do search for it. Let's go back to women's fiction for a second and let's dig deeper. So we looked at the keyword part. We look at the competitive competition analyzer. Let's go a little bit deeper and see what books are out there that are using those keywords. So what it's doing now is going out to Amazon and searching for books with women's fiction as a keyword and giving you the top results. And then you can take a little bit closer look at other things. So the first one that came up on the list, the most fun we ever had, and this is a Reese's Book Club pick. So for this, when it says age, is looking at the number of days since it was published. So this one, a few years old. This one is the Amazon bestseller rank. So tells you the ranking of this book compared to others based on the number of sales. So this one is 810. The number of pages, it's a long book. This one is tells you if it had this keyword search, and this one does not actually have women's fiction as a part of its keyword search, but based on other books or other searches, this one would probably get returned as a search result if someone put in that keyword. And so when it says check it out, you can go specifically to that page and see like its reviews. You can look and see a lot more of the details. So it was published in 2021. Women's domestic life fiction, contemporary women's fiction, and then family life fiction. So all of these are keywords that it actually used. So you can see other books that are searched or clicked on when people looked at this book too. So what you could also hope for, that if you were to use one of these keywords that are associated with a book like this, that you would also show up on this list as well. Publisher Rocket is definitely a tool that I think is very valuable. And I'll share with you the actual keywords that I ended up going with, and we can take a look at those and determine why I picked those. So let's go back to Publisher Rocket. So what I actually did, I did use women's fiction as one of my keywords. And I also used forbidden romance as one of my keywords. So we can see that I am going to be, for the women's fiction keyword, I'm going to be in competition with 80,000 other people, other books. And so I'm willing to risk being further down on the search list. But look how many people are searching for that category. I also use forbidden romance. So again, I'm in the moderate, over 1,000 searches, still highly competitive from a number of books out there. I also used interracial romance, and we can take a look at that. And we can see here that I'm still in the moderate competition score, over 3,000 searches. Not a lot of competitors out there. So I took the chance on that one, and feeling pretty good about that one. Another one that I used was Dual Timeline. And here, again, still in the moderately competitive, less than 500 searches per month, not a lot of competitors out there. But still, based on the low number of searches to the number of competitors, still ranks it as a moderate for a competition score. I also did use past life fiction. Let's take a look at that specifically. And there, I have a low competition score, even though there's over 60,000 other books that fall under this keyword. The low searches somehow gets me a pretty low competition score. So not sure how those numbers compute. I would think this would still be moderate, seeing that the number of searches are so low and the number of competitors are so high, but it ranks out to be a low competition score. So I ended up using that one. And then the other one that I used was Reincarnation Fiction. And there, this one is one that I took a chance on because there are very few searches per month, very few competitors, which ranks out to be a very low competition score. So odds are if someone goes out and searches on Reincarnation Fiction, my book is going to pop right at the top. So those are some of the keywords that I used based on the information that I got back from Publisher Rocket. And I use the same keywords on Ingram Spark as well, because I'm thinking that if people are entering this search criteria onto Amazon, they do the same thing on other sites like Barnes & Noble or Kobo or whatever else they're searching on. So that is my intro into Publisher Rocket. I am loving it so much. I'm a data geek. So things like this is right up my alley. I am going to dig into this more deeply about categories, and especially about Amazon ads. And there's also the reverse ASIN to kind of do some analysis on books that you read and may be a competitor of your book, and you can kind of dig in deeper on what keywords they use. So I'm going to dig in deeper into these at a later date. I will certainly bring you along, but in the meantime, I hope you found this interesting, helpful. Definitely any comments or questions that you have, please leave them down in the comments. Also, there's a link to Publisher Rocket in the description. It is one of those one-time purchase tools that you purchase one time and can use it, and it updates and gets more robust as time goes on. So everything I know about it right now, I absolutely love and can't wait to dig into it a lot deeper and share that with you. So please give this video a like. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and come back again next week when I share more information about my writing journey on the next Writing Wednesday. See you then. Bye.